Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum throughout the world, throughout the universe. Peace and blessings to you all. My name is Dagestan. I'm the founder of the Center for Global Muslim Life, and we're going to have this preview show where we're talking about this really amazing film festival with films from all over the world that will be screening live across different social media platforms with our partners, Penny Appeal, over the next month, over 5 weekends. We have 40 really amazing films and 26 live shows with filmmakers, directors, different people that'll be joining us. And tonight we have with us Bilal Hassan and Ibrahim Zafar, who will be joining us now to talk about the film festival. And really, you know, it's a blessing to be here with you all. And you know, part of what we want to do with the Center for Global Muslim Life is create these big global convenings where we as Muslims, we've been put into categories, right? We've been made American Muslims, British Muslims, but we know that as, you know, the programming we've been having, we have this diaspora of hearts where our hearts are connected around the world. And so with this film festival, that's one of the things we want to do. People are bored, they're at home, you know, they're probably tired of Netflix at this point because they've watched a lot of it and a lot of Disney Plus and all the other streaming platforms. And so we wanted to bring you some unique, really current content from around, from Muslims creating content around the world. So yeah, welcome to you both. Bilal, did you want to talk about this work and why you think it's important?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, Dustin and Ibrahim. It's an absolute pleasure to be joining you all here from the UK. Assalamu alaikum to everybody. Belated Eid Mubarak to everybody watching. Really, I'm so excited about this Global Muslim Film Festival. It's really the first time there's been anything like it. And, you know, it's one of those weird silver linings from the coronavirus that it's sort of, you know, it's isolated us all, but in a way, technology is giving us an opportunity to connect. I remember years ago listening to a friend of ours who many of you know, Naveed Akhtar, who's a veteran media personality in the UK with decades of experience. And he's the gentleman who's behind the Alchemia platform. And I think he had coined this term, the global urban Muslim, essentially referring to the fact that there's Muslims from San Francisco to Sydney to Sarajevo who all share a similar cultural reference point. And I think, you know, even though we're talking, I think you're in Los Angeles and we've got DC and I'm in Grimsby city you've probably never heard of before on the coast, northeast coast of the United Kingdom. But we're in all these disparate places and yet we're connected. And the coronavirus crisis has really shown us that you know, we're going through this global pandemic together. And it's an amazing opportunity for us to leverage that time, leverage the opportunities that the technology allows us to you know, use. And I think there's no better medium than film. I mean, too often we hear, I know, especially in the NGO sector, you know, we hear that, well, you know, films, TV, media, it's not that important. Whereas, you know, we know in this pandemic, everyone's just been binging. The reality is they're binging Netflix and Amazon Prime or whatever else. And so we're actually consuming so much media, but so much of that media doesn't do our communities, our culture, our faith a service. And so I'm really excited about the Global Muslim Film Festival because it gives us this opportunity to showcase those stories, those talent, support the Muslim film industry as a global phenomena, and really get some of those brilliant stories out there, get us discussing, get us connecting, and hopefully inspiring us too, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. So yeah, we wanted to bring in, thank you for that. And we wanted to bring in Ibrahim, and it's really interesting that all three of us are filmmakers. You know, I'm a producer and a director. I know, Bilal, you've been involved in all kinds of different film work around the world. And Ibrahim, you work in the DC office of Penny Appeal USA. Can you talk about your work as a filmmaker and you know, how hard of a struggle it is as a Muslim filmmaker to tell relevant stories?
Yeah, thanks, Dustin. You know, I started off in my journey at Penny Appeal USA through filmmaking. I was originally contracting through them. And so they'd sent me through my contract work to a bunch of different countries. And over there, I just captured a lot of footage of the beneficiaries. And when we came back, we spent a couple of months really packaging that footage and creating content around it. And you could tell a night and day difference in between when you start investing in those projects and how much return you get actually from inspiring your donors from when you don't. So Penny Appeal USA early on took the route of really investing in film projects and also telling the perspective of the beneficiary through a very narrative-based lens. And so instead of doing that documentary sort of feel, we go showing people in vulnerable positions, we're actually showing them in empowering positions and treating it like a story, because it is a story. So very excited, and we're very happy to be part of this initiative with you guys. We're very excited to see some of the films that will be premiered at this festival. Overall, kind of stepping away from the nonprofit side, it's very important for us to start telling our own narratives. You're starting to see networks starting to shift and tell our community's perspective through Hulu, Netflix, and these other streaming platforms. If we don't start telling our stories, they will start telling our stories for us. So now is the most important time with the political climate that's happening. I can speak for in the States especially, and around the world, sort of the political atmosphere kind of based around Muslims. It's important for us to invest in our own filmmakers right now, so that we control the narrative and we can inspire the next generation of individuals to take action in a kind of a variety of mediums that they want to. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you again both for being here. And I think that's so important because, how do we tell our stories? What are the unique stories of global Muslim life? Like you said, I mean, we know that the big streamers are reaching a point where they're even starting to celebrate the Eid holiday, where we had this show, this Golden Globe winning show, Rami, premiering last night, and they say they dropped it for Eid, even though Rami Youssef put out a really nice post as well saying, if you want to learn Islam, don't learn it from my show, and here are some scholars that you could learn it from. But you're right, if we don't do this, who will? And it's unique if you think about also that there's like Christian film, you can find those categories on the different streaming platforms, but there's nothing to find like Muslim film within the streaming platforms, even though we know what a market it is. And we're going to talk about that with the Ertugrul panel we have coming up. Can you all talk about what you think about this market, some of where you think things are going? We'll start with you, Bilal.
Yeah, I mean, I really think there's a mindset shift that needs to happen. We're very comfortable as Muslims being consumers of culture, and we're sort of hesitant to be producers of culture. And this is where the dial has to shift, really. And I can't remember her name. Maybe you'll know, Dustin, but there's a really well-known sister from the United States who said, she said, you don't need to be the voice of the voiceless. All you have to do is pass the mic. And I feel that this really is the job of the filmmaker. It's to just shine a light, shine a camera, put a microphone out there, and all these rich stories. We have so much in our communities bursting with culture, language, vibrancy. There's so many minutiae. I remember when I was a younger person, and whenever there was a brown person on TV, we'd scream, Asian. That's you'd say Desi in the United States. There's a Desi on TV, there's an Asian on TV, and we used to it used to be amazing just to see yourself out there. And I think the way the political climate's evolved, the way the Islamophobic industry has really taken root. I think we don't have an excuse now to wait for other people to say, let's put another brown person on TV, let's put another Muslim on TV. I think there's so many talented people out there, there's so many brilliant filmmakers out there, and we need to shine a light on them and give them a platform. And this is why, as a senior executive at Penny Appeal in the UK, I was so honored that we were able to support this festival, and we were able to help bring those stories to a bigger platform and share them with the world. So I'm really excited again about the films that we're going to be showing over the next few weeks, and really grateful that we're able to showcase and shine a light and hopefully inspire upcoming filmmakers to show them what is possible, and that our stories that we tell about ourselves, they have value, that they're important, and they need to be told.
Yeah, exactly. And for those of you who don't know the importance of film festivals and what they do for communities, is that they really, because the issue isn't making films. We have Muslims making films all over the world who are super talented, are making incredible films. The issue primarily is an issue of distribution. And so you have, these champions in the Latino communities in African American communities, in African communities, like people like Ava DuVernay, who've built an entire studio to focus on getting African and African American films distributed and championing those films, training the next generation of storytellers. And that to us is what this film festival is about, is that we have to start somewhere. We have to start really talking about our own film industry. We have to start talking, and we have to connect the dots with the films from around the world so that we can also connect to distributors to help our films get distributed. Because I know several incredible, award-winning films at film festivals that had, Muslim characters who may not fit into the primary tropes that Hollywood puts Muslims in, either as terrorists or as liberal Muslims who aren't even practicing their faith. If a film is made that's more of a mainstream story rooted in the Muslim community, the issue of distribution will always be a problem. And so like a good example of that is the film Bilal that was produced in Qatar. I believe the film was over a $50 million budget. And the film in the United States, the film just came out on Amazon Prime almost 5 years after it was originally released. And so with that, we wanted to also show you some trailers. We have a really amazing film that's gonna be opening the festival tonight in about 5 hours. It's called Mu'allaf, The Convert, from an amazing filmmaker in Malaysia, Yasmin Ahmed, rahimahullah. She passed away about 10 years ago, but her films are so beautiful because Malaysia is one of the most diverse Muslim majority countries in the world, and her films always had multiracial stories and where people were connecting across communities in unique ways. And so this film tells the story of two young girls who ran away from their father, and then it's also a story about a young Chinese man who faced faith-based abuse in his life as well. So we're going to start with that trailer.
You guys ran away from home, didn't you?
I wasn't exactly calling it running away, more like running to safety.
Every time Mrs. Seaver tells her on, he stops counting some numbers.
100. People are afraid of things that they don't understand, and your numbers confuse them.
Numbers? What numbers?
I don't care if Annie never comes back. She'll be 21 soon, and more trouble than she's worth.
I was wondering if you'd like to go there for dinner tonight.
You were about to ask me out on a date?
Hey, Anna, guess who's here to see you?
To take Anna away like that amounts to kidnapping.
Lord, her faith is in your hands.
Stop behaving like your stupid mother!
I will not forgive you! I will punish you for this!
Pretty intense, mashallah.
Yeah.
And again, amazing that there's films coming from all quarters of the world that you may never think there's a story in Malaysia, there's a story in Indonesia, so many thousands of miles away, but it actually is able to speak to your experience as a Muslim here. And I think there's a really interesting parallel there as a Chinese person who comes to Islam and experiences discrimination as a minority vis-a-vis the experience of Western Muslims and living in minorities here. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to all of the other bits and all these other films and discussions, especially that we have planned at the film festival.
Yeah, and of course we have the cast of that entire film will be with us tonight as well. Who the star of the film, Sharifa Mani, she actually went on to have an amazing, that was one of her first films, and she's 20 years old in that film, and now here we are about 12 years later where she's gone on to have this global film career and made really a number of really amazing films. So it'll be exciting to see, to be with them tonight. What are you looking forward to, Ibrahim?
I think the biggest aspect of this festival, one of the biggest aspects that I'm really excited about is just letting filmmakers and future filmmakers know that there is a community that supports them. I mean, it's no secret that this community is not, you're not going to jump into this community and make a wealth of money, and you're not going to, make it big within your first few years. It's going to take a lot of effort, and it's not also the most traditional career path in our communities. So just allowing and showing individuals that are kind of on the fence about joining this community that, hey, there is a very big, strong support network for you, and that if you join, you won't be left alone. So the sense of community aspect in this festival is something that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's great. And so if you want to register, you have to go to the Center for Global Muslim Life website, and you can register on the Eid Film Festival page. And you can go to, and you'll also see the set of films that are coming, that will be playing throughout this month. So here's the homepage, and this weekend we have 3 films that will be playing. We have the film that's opening with Yasmin Ahmed and the discussion tonight. Then we have this beautiful movie from this group from Canada and the United States called Fatima fi Allah, that went down the path of Qawwali music and in Pakistan and lived there for 20 years. And it tells the story of Tahir Qawwal and Qawwali music at the same time. It's actually a 3-hour film that they're releasing one half-hour piece per month. And it's a really, really beautiful film. We'll show the trailer. We'll show that trailer next. And then on Sunday, to close out the weekend, we have this really amazing short documentary called The Anatomy of a Fighter, the Dagestan Chronicles, where this really amazing filmmaker, Will Harris, went to Dagestan with Khabib Nurmagomedov, the UFC champion, one of the most famous Muslim athletes in the world. And he was able to see where Khabib is from. And they were able to talk about what, his life is like there, and also meet with his father, who we pray for, who is actually in a coma in Russia, been fighting against the coronavirus. May Allah give him shifa, inshallah. But this film is really, really beautiful. And we have an opportunity to have a conversation with not only with Will Harris, the director, but also with Baraka Blue, who's a big UFC fan, and he's going to join us and have a conversation as part of his Path and Present podcast as well.
I was told.
So next, I wanted to show you the trailer from Fatima fi Allah, and it's a really, really beautiful film. And we're super excited to show it to you all. And here is the trailer.
Qawwali is a spiritual dimension of Islam.
It's the poetry, it's the Sufi message, it's the impulsive improvisational aspect, it's that Sufi message of divine love that fuels the music.
In so many ways, the Qawwal is expressing what we feel, what we cannot put into words, what we don't know how to offer.
और लोग अपने जिहड़े मसले सालां च हल नहीं हुंदे वो लम्हियां च हल हो जाते।
हम जब भी बुजुर्गों का कोई भी कलाम गाते हैं तो उसकी कैफियत अगर होती है तो उसमें बुजुर्गों की दुआ भी होती है और बरकत भी होती है। अपने नाम की, अपनी मोहब्बत की, कि जिस मेहनत से उन्होंने अपने रब को याद किया है, जिस अंदाज से उन्होंने अपने रब को याद किया है, अपनी मेहनत से, अपनी लगन से,
असल ये सिलसिला ही दुआ का है, ये लग जाए पीर की लग जाए, माँ की लग जाए दुआ, उस्ताद की लग जाए, ये तीन रिश्ते जिसमें मुकद्दस होते हैं, ये इस दुआ की रुकावट नहीं, ये सीधी दुआ जो है वो ऊपर जाती है और कबूल होती है।
We've all come from such different places to find ourselves in this. They saw us as Westerners, not born into their culture, not into their religion, but we came seeking something, and they saw that.
I heard them tell me, you know, you're not a woman or a man, you're an artist.
So they create that safe space, they create that environment. That's what's really captured my heart, that's captured our hearts. That's the thing that we want to share with the world.
Mashallah. That was a lovely teaser trailer there, and I'm looking forward to catching that film. You know, I think so many of us, especially in the UK, so many of us hail from the subcontinent and grew up. I'm not a Pakistani myself, but you know, I grew up listening to Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan and you know, listening to those traditional qawwalis and even trying to attempt my own renditions of it. So I'm really excited to engage with that story, inshallah.
Yeah, what's amazing about that film is they actually, at the beginning of it, Tahir Kowal talks about when he was 16 years old, he left Nova Scotia, Canada, because he said he didn't connect with his birth culture. And he traveled to India and throughout Pakistan, and he said he was living in these historical yoga caves inside the Himalayas. And then that's how he's introduced to Qawwali music ultimately. And here we are 20 years later, where they have this whole really Western ensemble who live in Indonesia and in Pakistan and play this music around the world. Really, really a beautiful group. And I'm excited to show that film. So a couple more, you know, I wanted to also talk about this this Ramadan Awards program that we're doing. So what we're doing with this Ramadan Awards program is, you know, this Ramadan was really amazing for a lot of reasons. I feel like a lot of us were able to connect with Allah in unique ways because we weren't going anywhere and we were at home. But also it was unique for our institutions because they had to produce content. And so whereas the social media managers and the filmmakers that were working at nonprofits at Muslim nonprofits around the world may have been marginalized in some ways before this, now they literally had to produce programming every day at every nonprofit with people all around the world. And so what we wanted to do with this Ramadan Awards program is really, you know, give awards for the best content around the world. And here's an example of that with this, you know, we're gonna give awards to also the best commercials, because throughout parts of the Muslim world, there's these really amazing commercials that are produced for Ramadan and for the Eid holiday. And so this is one actually from Saudi Arabia that we really liked.
سألت ماما ما الخبر أين اختفى كل البشر ترى سأبقى دون رفقة ردت ينسان الشر ردت ينسان الشر ردت ينسان الشر لن ينسانا الله سيؤتينا من الغيب أحلى فيرسينا ما قاسينا لن ينسانا الله لن ينسانا الله سيؤتينا من الغيب أحلى فيرسينا ما قاسينا لن ينسانا الله لما وجدت نصف قلبي سألت الغد ماذا يخبي ما بعد العسر يسر والقيمة توصف ردت ينسان الفاق ردت ينسان الفاق ردت ينسان الفاق ردت ينسان الفاق ولن ينسان الله وسيغنينا به عن سواه فلا نطلب إلا إياه لن ينسانا الله لن ينسانا الله سيغنينا به عن سواه فلا نطلب إلا إياه لن ينسانا الله والآن أعين الأطفال على الكعبة وفي القلب سؤال في بيت الله متى اللقاء قلت ينسانا الداء قلت ينسانا الداء ولا ينسانا الله ستحط قلوبا وجبال على أرضي شوقا وصلاة لا ينسانا الله لا ينسانا الله ستحط قلوبا وجبال على أرضي شوقا وصلاة لا ينسانا الله لا ينسانا الله لا ينسانا الله.
MashaAllah. Thank you for sharing that. Again, I'm really excited to see all of these different global films, and this is one of the few opportunities or the first few times where we can really celebrate together, share something together as a global Muslim family. I'm really honored that Penny Appeal, our global Penny Appeal family, is going to be behind this festival and helping to give it a platform. You know, Penny Appeal in the UK, United States, all around the world, really excited about sharing these films, getting to engage, share them with the world, engage in conversations with all of you. But Dustin, if you can just remind us again, I think the link is on screen, people can see it, the bit.ly/Muslim film. I think that takes you to the registration page. So for all of you watching, I think the reminder is to get onto the website and register so that you get notified of all of the upcoming films, inshallah. They're going to be, am I right in saying they're going to be live streamed, all of the films on social media as well? Just tell us about the process, Dustin.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we'll have a couple of ways that you can see the films. If you register, one, they'll be on YouTube Live, where you can actually see the film screening there. And then there'll be a link sent around that's a private Vimeo link that people have to register for to watch the films over maybe like 48 hours as well that way. Because again, the issue with films are that film festivals don't generally have distribution rights. We're showing them to help people see the films and to help, generally to get distributors. And so that's the way that we'll be doing it. And then the live sessions will be on, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, on Penny Appeal, on Center for Global Muslim Life, all over the place. So we ask you to definitely come and engage with us. That film I felt like is unique because it was produced obviously in the midst of this quarantine, and it has a very unique Ramadan message. The picture of the children looking at the Kaaba, as many of us experience, like having to explain this to your children. We've seen a lot of, there's been some quarantine type of content, but I thought that film was really well done for the context. What did you all think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was very well produced. The quality was amazing. I think in the US, I'll speak for what's happening in the US right now, is that in the film community, there is a lot of hesitation on being on set with multiple people right now. So like in terms of larger sets where you're having shared meals and things like that, right now you've really had to strip your set into like one person, one camera operator, one talent, all maintaining a 6-foot distance. And so while I do agree that the message was great, I love the quality, very strong story there. You're going to see a lot of content that was shot right before Ramadan with content producers who really had to work with very limited resources. So I want to make sure that we're also valuing and appreciating the resourcefulness of some of our filmmakers that we're going to be seeing in this film festival as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that, this might be really an opportunity for indie film to get ahead in this world, right? In terms of like the ability for documentaries and for smaller budget films to really produce at a small scale right now, and even find, the right distribution. This is a unique moment for that. And you even see it there's like a global YouTube film festival right now where all these big global film festivals join together to put films online. And so there's a lot of opportunity to consume unique content in this moment. So yeah, thank you for that point about film. So I wanted to show another one of the trailers of the films that we're looking forward to is this really amazing film called Somos Musulmanes. And Somos Musulmanes tells the story of the Muslim community. You know, this story has been in the media a lot, where around 500 people in Chiapas, Mexico, which is in southern Mexico, a majority indigenous part of Mexico, of course, the part of Mexico where the Zapatista uprising took place. A lot of media and Muslims have focused on this story, but no one's ever really told the deep story. So this really talented group of filmmakers called Unexpected Muslims from France produced this really beautiful film called Somos Musulmanes. And so this is the trailer for that film. Oh, sorry, I think there is a issue with the audio. Let me try that one more time. Nope, it just looks like it's the film. So unfortunately, we can't show you that one. We're going to move on here. And so we'll move on to one of the last trailers we'll show you. So anyway, but Somos Musulmanes is a really incredible film. Like I said, it puts everything in the context of what was happening in Mexico, the Zapatista movement, how these people converted to Islam, and even like the role that convert communities can play in Mexico in spreading Islam. So it's a really powerful and beautiful story. So next we're going to show, there's a really amazing film from Syria called Wedged that we're going to screen as well, where this filmmaker started by focusing on this group of Syrian singers who sing classical Qasa'id music, not even music, but poetry. And he started this film 10 years ago. And so he has some really beautiful imagery from Syria before the war. And then instead of making the film about, this music, he ended up making the film about these people's lives as the story shifted. It's a Canadian-based filmmaker who made this film in Syria.
ممكن تحكيني شوي شو صار معك بسوريا؟
After living what happened in Aleppo, death itself doesn't scare anymore. It doesn't scare us anymore.
أصدقاء عمري يعني ماتوا وفي منهم كتير مات استشهدوا.
كانوا يسألوني الحواجز إنه ليش على طول مبتسم؟ فكان جوابي على طول لهم إنه هذا اسمه الألم الحقيقي، إنه حتى البكي غاب عنك.
بعد يلي صار بسوريا، بعد يلي صار بحياتنا، أنا كلاجئ وجدت معنى بالموسيقى.
I couldn't take my family and the boat to Greece, but we want to be together very soon.
عم يمدني بالحياة هو الشيخ. الموسيقى تتذكر الروح عالم أرسطو. مثل ما قال مولانا جلال الدين الرومي، يعني الحياة هي مأساة، غربة.
ذهب الذين أحبهم فعليك يا دنيا سلام.
Mashallah, I recognize some of those tunes from traditional qasaid, and it really, again, I think shows a different side to Syria. We're so used to seeing images that are really tragic and really scary, and it's an honor that Penny Appeal is again able to support this film festival. We do a lot of work in Syria, around the Syrian border, in Turkey, working with Syrian refugees, and I think it's very easy to reduce Syria now to just a humanitarian and political crisis. And we forget that there's a bursting culture, beautiful history, beautiful people with stories. And again, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to platform stories like that and, learn from our sisters, our brothers all around the world. And again, one more reason to sign up for the film festival and take part and join in. And I'm excited to see that, inshallah. I know my Arab family will be very excited to see that too, inshallah.
Yeah, so I think we're going to close out, and the last part I'm going to talk about is the short film section, and I'm going to show a short film, and then we're going to end. So Ibrahim, did you have any final thoughts that you wanted to share with us?
I think my last kind of statement that I'll make about this is that when consumers ask, why should we be watching short films, that sometimes we have to sacrifice our viewing quality, sometimes we have to sacrifice our time, and sometimes we're just not invested, is because ultimately speaking, the generation of filmmakers that you support now will be, whether or not you watch their films or not, they will be the next filmmakers that you do see in the mainstream platform. So, some of the films that you've shown right now, I can imagine some of those directors and producers will be household names in the next 5 to 10 years, if not a little bit longer. So definitely, I highly urge everyone watching and watching the stream to really take time out of your day, because it's not going to just naturally, you're not going to see it on your Netflix stream, you're not going to see it on Hulu. You're going to have to take time to look for these short films, invest in them. Just by viewing a short film, it doesn't cost you any money, it doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of your time. Even those analytics for a filmmaker can go a long way.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us today. Bilal, any final words?
No, I'm grateful to you, Dustin. Thank you for putting all this effort in. I know this is not something that you're employed to do. This is something you're doing on the back of your own passion to tell those stories, to connect us. One of my dear friends, Luqman Ali, who is a theater, is a playwright and an actor and a theater production maestro. He reminded me years ago, and he talked about the word in Arabic for story, qissa, and that the same word qissa, it shares its origin with the word used to describe footsteps. And he reminded us that when we tell stories, essentially we invite people to walk in our footsteps. We transcend the dichotomy of us and them, and especially in today's political climate all around the world, where the hard power politics, is drawing lines between us, is separating people, is segregating people. Story has the ability to transcend those dichotomies and has the unique ability to connect people, to allow us to walk in each other's footsteps, to experience a little bit of each other's lives, and perhaps then connect our hearts closer together. So, we know the Quran has within it the most beautiful ahsan al-qasas, the best of stories, the Quran says. And so in that tradition, we are, sharing stories, connecting across borders, across cultures, across countries. And really, I'm really grateful that the Penny Appeal Global family can be supporting the first inaugural Global Muslim Film Festival. Inshallah, we'll have many more in the future. So thank you, Dustin, for all that you're doing. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in this program, inshallah, and gives us all success. But what I'm finally asking, my final ask is for everyone watching, however many people are here on the streams, please share the film festival. Please share the feed that you're watching now. Please share the posters when they come out, the trailers. We want this to really reach as many people as possible. As far as I understand, you're not being charged to watch the streams. So we're going to have a lot of free content out there for you. But what you can do to help us out, make a contribution to the Center for Global Muslim Life. It's an NGO effectively, and please support the great work that Dustin is doing. But also, please share the film festival. The link is on your screens. It's in the description boxes on the live stream. So please share. Let's get the word out. And we're going to be going out. Just remind us again about the dates. Like, how is it working, Dustin?
So we're starting tonight, which is the 29th in the United States. It's the 30th in a lot of the rest of the world by the time the film festival starts. And then we're going all the way until June 28th. So it's a month of films, and the programs will take place on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, basically over a long weekend, every weekend for the next 5 weeks. And sometimes we have multiple programs per day. We're trying to set it up in a way where a lot of that programming will be able to happen where as many people in the world can consume it as possible, as difficult as that is across global time zones. And then the content will still be there if for whatever reason one of the programs happens while you're asleep. So yeah, please support the center, support our work, support the film festival. And thank you so much to Penny Appeal. You came through in a really big way to support the festival. And it's really important, these organizations that come in and support the arts as patrons, as sponsors. We can't thank them enough. And Bilal, you mentioned this idea of beautiful stories in the Quran. And I think that's one of the last things I really want to talk about with film is that we see so many ugly stories. We see so much ugliness. We see so much sin. We see so much hopelessness in the film world and on Netflix and on our screens. And there's literally disgusting content that includes Muslims. And part of that is to police our identities and to tell us who to be, right? To tell us how we should be in the world. And what we're trying to champion here are the beautiful stories, the beautiful films from throughout the Ummah, from throughout, Muslims from around the world that are being made, but unfortunately aren't necessarily getting distribution.
Mm-hmm. Inshallah, may Allah put barakah in it. And, we'll see you as the festival goes ahead, inshallah.
Ameen, inshallah. Thank you for joining us, Bilal. So a couple final things here. We'll just go quickly over the schedule, and then we'll go into the closing, the short films. So after this weekend, we have this really beautiful film about Mahmoud Abdul Rauf's journey, The Dawn's Early Light, directed by Dr. Zarina Greenwald from Yale University. We're trying to get Mahmoud to join the stream as well. Then we have this really unique conversation with Dr. Hussein Rashid. There's a new Dune film coming out, directed by Denis Villeneuve, who makes really amazing films. And so we're talking about the Islamic themes in Star Wars, Black Panther, and Dune. Then we have the Ramadan Digital Media Awards that we talked about, which you can vote for. On the 7th, we have a really exciting program. You have these programs around the world for fan service, but for Ertugrul, despite it being one of the biggest shows in history, there hasn't been much fan service for the show. But we're trying to do that with a panel with Riyad Minty from TRT to talk about the global reach of the film, and with Hind Maki, a US-based thinker and activist. She had a really amazing podcast called Baywatch about Ertugrul, and so we're looking forward to that as well, to that session. Then we have The Honest Struggle, a really beautiful film about incarcerated Muslims in the United States with the director Justin Mashouf. We're talking about the Muslim dramas that are on Netflix, many of which are from Indonesia and Malaysia that people may not know about. And we actually have this sister with us twice who will be joining us tonight, Sharifa Amani. And then Making Lisa, a really cool film about the making of using academic work to then create creative work about this film from Egypt. And then we have something so cool, you guys can't miss it. Hana al-Rashid is a global Indonesian actress and Silat, action star who was also one of the founders of the Women's March in Indonesia. So we have a really unique conversation set up with her. Then we have Finding Fatima from the UK, films from Palestine. We're talking about spirituality in film. Like I said, what are the beautiful stories? This really beautiful film from Olvido Salazar about Tahir Abdurrahman, a philosopher from Morocco. Then we have these global music videos from Muslims from around the world, from Ras Muhammad, Ultimate, big reggae stars, hip hop stars, and from the US as well. We have this really cool session with Mustafa Davis, the great American filmmaker who's now based in Turkey, and where we're going to show a bunch of his films and talk about his process. Then we have a session with Lena Khan, who is, mashallah, become a mainstream filmmaker now. She made this indie film called The Tiger Hunter that you can watch on Netflix. And now she has this new film coming out called Flora and Ulysses that's going to be on Disney Plus in the next few months. Then we have Wedged, which we talked about, Somos Musulmanes, which we talked about. And then we have these global refugee short films on World Refugee Day, which is June 27th. And then the State of Muslims in Film in Hollywood. Finally, we have the short films from throughout the Ummah. And then we're going to close it out with Sohail Dolatsai and some special guests about radical film in the Muslim International, talking about the Battle of Algiers and other films. So yeah, that's a lot, but we're really excited. And we wanted to close with a short film. This is actually my short film that I made recently at the US-Mexico border called A Prayer Beyond Borders. It's a really, really beautiful film. And we tried to, with this film, create a way where you can see what it means to create meaning and spirituality in film using music and really beautiful cinematography. And the short program actually is still open. We're looking for shorts from throughout the world. So if you'd like to submit, you can reach out to us on the Center for Global Muslim website. We'd be happy to look at your short film. And Jazakallah khair. We look forward to seeing you all. Please join the film festival. And Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, that here at this wall, people give kisses to their loved ones, to their friends. Me dijeron que aquí, en esta pared, que la gente le dan besos a sus familiares y a sus amistades. I immediately wondered, how can it be possible that people are exchanging kisses here at this wall? Pensé, ¿cómo puede ser que la gente se están dando besos aquí en esta pared? And they told me that it is with the touch of a pinky. Me dijeron que es tocando dedo a dedo.
So the history of the place we're going, what locals call Friendship Park, is that it, for generations, was a meetup place for people from US and Mexico. It's a very important place for families that are separated by immigration status. Every weekend, 40 or 50 families come to visit at Friendship Park. They only do that because they have no other recourse to see each other.
Our intentions are to cross the border in order to visit the community in Tijuana, in order to unify the people.
Y así como es un lugar binacional, just like this is a binational area, también es un lugar birreligioso.
The event's name today is Prayer Beyond Borders, because we don't believe in borders, because we believe that people of the world, regardless of their faith, regardless of their culture, race, ethnicity, they have the right to connect. And there is nothing better to connect us than all of us praying and coming together.
We are all here in solidarity to show the world that no wall will stop us from being united.
On behalf of the Border Church, we bid you all a very warm welcome.
Reverend John, thank you so much on behalf of my community and everybody who is here. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to do this service together.
In a spirit of solidarity and friendship, we gather, recognizing that we are brothers and sisters in one family, the human family, that we are all children of one God.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله
Allahu Akbar. Sami'a Allahu liman hamidah. Allahu Akbar.
Let us pray. A ti entregamos, Señor, este momento.
We give you this moment, Lord, onto your hands.
Para que tú seas glorificado en todo.
So you may be glorified in everything.
En todo lo que hemos hecho.
In everything we have done.
En todo lo que hacemos.
In everything we do.
Amén.
Oh, highest God, our miraculous Savior. There's no one like you.
No hay nadie como tú, Altísimo, milagroso Salvador. No hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú.
And we come to the wall and we place our hands on the wall. Con las manos en el muro. Vamos a levantar a Dios nuestras confesiones. We'll lift to God our confessions. Y estas son oraciones de confesión personales. These can be prayers of personal confession. Pero también pueden ser confesiones por parte de nuestras naciones. We can also pray forgiveness for our nation. So now I invite you to lift your hands up to the sky, levantándose las manos hacia el cielo. Miramos al cielo y reconocemos que el cielo es más grande que cualquier sistema humano.
And when we remove the wall from our hearts, our minds, and our souls, we are able to impact the world completely. I ask God, the Almighty, to remove this wall. Grant us people who bring us together.
No matter what faith, religion, race, no matter our differences, this is what humanity looks like. This is what humanity looks like. This is what humanity looks like.
Change with the times, letting time